Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear for our world's strongest team competitors.
Hello and a very warm welcome to the Britannia Stadium in Stoke-on-Trent. Usually it's the home to Stoke City of the English Premier League, but for this day it's been taken over by 16 of the biggest, strongest men on earth as they combine to form 8 teams from across the planet to find out who will be the world's ultimate strongest team. It's a formidable lineup of impressive athletes, and quite possibly it's the best assembly of strong men ever put together here on these shores. But the one man who is capturing the attention from many of this 6,000 strong crowd is local man Ed Hall. The athletes are lined up, they're ready to go, so let's hear from 5-time UK strongest man, the daddy, Glenn Ross.
This is the world's ultimate strongest team championship 2014, and this is event 1, and what an event we're kicking off with. 460 kilos of super yoke. This is burned down on the shoulders. They've got to carry it up the course, 20 metres up, 20 metres back, 40 metres of pain. Who's going to win? We'll soon see.
So the athletes being introduced to the crowd ahead of this opening event in the world's ultimate strongest teams. The Bravehearts represented by 2 of the strongest men in Scotland. And how about this for a lineup for the Vikings? Hafthor Bjornsson, the biggest strongman in operation in the entire scene at the moment, 6'9" tall. Brian Shaw, 6'8", and his tag team partner Dave Osterland is 6'7". Another heavyweight pairing. And the Druids are represented by 2 Welshmen, Simon Johnston, 3-time Wales' strongest man, and his partner is Mark Jeans.
Mark! Sit!
So the whistle goes to get this event underway. 20 metres down the first leg of this course with this 460 kilogram super yoke. The Bravehearts going very well on the inside, but Hafthor Bjornsson using that 6'9" frame to terrific effect, striding out with that considerable load on his shoulders. They reach the halfway stage in first place. Ari Gunnarsson now has to overcome the inertia, and after a good initial start, the Bravehearts now really struggling, just fighting to get the yoke over the line. The Vikings are struggling, but look at the Yankees. 6'8" Brian Shaw striding out towards the finish line in imperious fashion. No doubt about who's going to win this first heat. Brian Shaw stops the clock in just over 40 seconds for the Yankees. And the Vikings are really struggling. Luke Stoltman going well for the Bravehearts on this near side. And it's a tag team rather than a straight relay, so you can see that the Vikings have actually switched athletes again. Hafthor Bjornsson has picked up the yoke and is making terrific strides on this, the second leg, having done all of the first leg. A remarkable fight back by the Vikings. Hafthor Bjornsson likes it. He secures second place in this opening heat, but there are the winners, and they won impressively here in heat number 1. So the athletes in position ahead of heat number 2, and just listen to the reception that the Saxons have received. Local man Eddie Hall teaming up with Terry Hollins, who just takes a whiff of smelling salts in preparation for this second heat. The Barbarians represented by England's Graham Hicks and Serbia's Irving Katona. While the Pirates are represented by Austria's strongest man Martin Wildauer on the left, and America's Alex Coletto. And rounding out this field are the Celts, represented by 2 Irishmen, Johnny Kelly, Ireland's strongest man in 2012 on the left. So Jeff Capes, the former 2-time world's strongest man, gets this second heat underway, and it's a quick start that has been made by the Saxons, Eddie Hall, but also going well in the neighbouring lane for the Barbarians is Graham Hicks. Absolutely nothing between these leading 2 athletes as they approach the 20-metre halfway stage, and they get the yoke over the line in just about an identical time. So Terry Hollins beneath the yoke for the Saxons. Eddie Hall turns cheerleader, encouraging the legendary figure from Kent down the course, and he has opened up a considerable lead over the Barbarians' Irving Katona. Little doubt as to who's going to take this second heat. Now it's a question of where this time will place them in comparison to athletes from heat number 1. The Saxons take heat number 2. They're the winners. Celebrations from the crowd here at the Britannia Stadium. The Barbarians cross the line in second place. Clear winners, though, in heat number 2 are the Saxons. Let's see how that affects the overall results from that opening event. Well, it was the Yankees with that really impressive time of just over 40 seconds who take the victory. Saxons in second, Barbarians with that brilliant leg from Hafthor Bjornsson in third.
Brian Shaw and Dave Austin, straight from the first event. Fantastic result for you guys. How do you feel?
Yeah, it was good. It was tough because we didn't get a warm up going in the yoke, and that's almost 450 kilos is no joke, So it was good. I mean, it was fun. 4 wide. It was fun. I think the audience really enjoyed it, and we had a good time. We put up a good time. So it was awesome.
So the action well and truly underway. There are lots more of events still to come, all classics from the strongman repertoire, but with an added team element. The favourites, the Yankees, have taken an early lead. The Saxons are hot on their heels. Who will prevail in the world's ultimate strongest team?
Event 2 of the World Ultimate Strongest Team, the Hercules hold. 1-ton vehicle being held in each hand. Teams will be joined together. Forearms burning, hands burning, shoulders being ripped from the sockets. Who's going to win? We'll soon see.
Well, the Celts being introduced to the crowd. They're currently in 8th position after a really poor showing in the first event. They're looking to go better here. Let's hear what they've got to say.
Team events are normally less stressful because obviously 2 years or 4 years, whatever way the team event works out. But normally, because if you have a bad event and your teammate is good at the other event, or vice versa, like I'm not the best presser, but my teammate Johnny is a good presser, but I'm good at stones, so it kind of carries over,
Nicky Whelan is a good partner to have. I've known Nicky since the start of Strongman. We sort of started our first competitions together. So it's good to go out in a competition where we're not competing against each other, go out and have fun and just enjoy the day.
So Nicky Whelan on the right and Johnny Kelly on the left, looking for an improved performance after really struggling with the super yoke. This, an entirely different event in nature. No dynamism involved, it's static. And where will these athletes take their mind to as they just stand in position? You see the contrasting approaches. Nicky Whelan, head down in his own zone. Johnny Kelly, similarly focused, but just choosing to take in the vista around him. Test of grip strength. Shoulders will be struggling as well. And this is a really solid marker being laid down. It's Nicky Whelan who breaks the grip first, but that is a really good showing for the first team out in the Hercules car hold. 35 seconds just over for the Celts. So the Saxons in second place after the opening event of the 2014 World's Ultimate Strongest Team take the strain of these 1-ton vehicles as they attempt to overhaul the mark laid down by the Celts of 35.63 when they got this Hercules car hold underway. Contrasting approaches to this car hold. Terry Hollins engaging with the crowd, encouraging his younger teammate Eddie Hall, locked into his own world. Both athletes appearing strong and composed at the moment. Grip strength really being tested, and the crowd really playing their part in encouraging the Saxons. They're closing in on the leading time now, and they have gone past it. Eddie Hall and Terry Holland still appearing in fantastic condition, past 40 seconds, just beginning to waver. Eddie Hall breaks his grip, but they have done so with a clear lead in the Hercules car hold. Terrific performance. Well, the Yankees were the leaders after the first event, the super yoke. They know what they have to do now. They're the last team stepping up to the plate in the Hercules car hold. The mark produced by the Saxons is just over 42 seconds. These are two immense athletes. Brian Shaw with that familiar mouthpiece in place. He's the two-time world's strongest man of recent years back in 2011 and 2013. Dave Ostland from Minneapolis. He was third in the World's Strongest Man back in 2008. Both of them appearing rock solid at the moment. Ostland just beginning to grimace a little bit, feeling the pace now. Is Shaw as well. They've gone past clear into second place, but the grip of Shaw is broken, shy of the 40-second mark. But a second place finish for the Yankees in this second event. So a really strong start for the event favourites. First place in event number 1, second place in the Hercules car hold. So let's take a look at the overall results from that second event. Well, it was a terrific performance by Ed Hall and Terry Holland to take first place, the only team to go over the 40-second mark. The Yankees weren't too far behind, and what a strong showing from the Celts, a measure of redemption for them after a disappointing opening event. So let's take a look at the overall leaderboard. It is tied at the top, absolutely nothing between the top two teams, the Yankees and the Saxons, on 15 points apiece. The Barbarians still in contention.
Event 3 of the World Ultimate Strongest Team, the log lift for reps. It's a 2-man log. Together as a team, they'll bring the log to the chest and above their heads. 600 pounds, as many reps as possible, under control. Who's going to win? We'll soon see.
So the Vikings preparing for this 2-man log lift, 4th after 2 events. The Barbarians getting ready to take the load as well. 600 pounds, 272 kilograms, and the fans here at the Britannia Stadium having a terrific day watching these strong men go through their paces. Well, the Pirates and the Druids have already competed in this log lift, and the Druids have the leading marker with just 2 repetitions. That gives you an idea of just how difficult this event is. Not only a test of strength and technique, but also synchronicity. These athletes are going to have to work in tandem with one another, and of course it's not something that they'll do very often. Generally, strongman, one of the ultimate individual events, and that's how they'll be working. And you can see the disparity in height that exists on the Vikings team. An 8-inch difference between Ari Gunnarsson on the right and the 6'9" Hafthor Bjornsson, but both of these teams going very well indeed, cranking out the repetitions as they approach the halfway stage of this 90-second time limit. Far more similar in stature are the Barbarians, and they are staying hot on the heels of the Vikings team. And they're doing a terrific job of working in unison. Driven up, you've heard the announcement, we're just over the minute mark, so 2/3 of the way through this time competition. And while the Vikings are taking a break, that's allowed the Barbarians to gain ground. And now while the Barbarians are taking a breather, the Vikings are going for one more. Bjornsson's got it up now. Did the arms of Gunnarsson extend? The Barbarians have completed 8 reps. And as things stand, we are tied, 8 repetitions apiece. A terrific effort from teams of contrasting stature. 8 reps with a 272 kilogram load in the 2-man log lift. So the final pair of teams to contest the team log lift are the Yankees and the Saxons. They are tied at the top of the leaderboard after 2 events, having each secured a victory and a second place finish. The momentum perhaps with the Saxons after they prevailed in the Hercules car hold, and they know that the marker they have to surpass is 8 repetitions secured by both the Vikings and the Barbarians. The Saxons looking comparatively smoother than the Yankees at this early stage of the competition, working in unison. And you can see it's just a little bit more disjointed from the Yankees as they press it up off their respective chests. But Hollins and Hall working in tandem very well together indeed. But the score, which is the most crucial barometer, is currently tied. Nothing in it between these two teams as we approach the halfway stage of the 90-second time limit. Eddie Hall encouraging Hollins. And it was Terry Hollins who encouraged and inspired Ed Hall to get into strongman. 10-time competitor and world's strongest man, Terry Hollins. Got himself a couple of bronze medal finishes as well. And he's just beginning to struggle with this load now. And that will have placed extra pressure onto the frame of Ed Hall, and that's allowed the Yankees to steal a march. Ed Hall inquiring as to how long is left, how many more repetitions can the Saxons squeeze out. Meanwhile, the Yankees have tied for first place, and they've got the time on their side to try and get an outright lead. Hollins and Hall continuing to struggle with the log, but over on the other side of the platform, the Yankees have taken a clear lead. They managed to squeeze out 9 just before the whistle sounded to indicate that the 90-second time limit has elapsed, and the Yankees, the event favourites, continue their strong showing, securing their second victory in this third event. So let's take a look at the results of that 2-man log lift competition. The Yankees with an outright victory, securing 9 repetitions during the 90-second time limit, overcoming the brilliant mark laid down by the Barbarians and the Vikings, the Saxons in equal 4th.
Gentlemen, third event, second win, victorious again. Feeling good?
Yeah, I think we're feeling really good. You know, on the log, it was, you know, it's one of those things with a 2-man log. We've trained together, but we've never done that event like together. So it was a little bit of trying to read each other with how quick we were going to press and the clean and trying to get the cadence right. But we had a good result, really good result.
And what's the secret? Is it to do with timing?
Yeah, it's all about being in sync on it. You know, if one guy presses too quick, the other guy's got a tough time. And you know, we had a couple rough reps, but then we got it down and battled through and got the win, so we're pretty happy.
So that victory in the 2-man log lift has given the Yankees just a little bit of clear daylight between themselves and the Saxons, who finished in equal 4th. The Barbarians and Vikings, with their strong showing, are keeping things interesting at the top.
Event 4 of the World Ultimate Strongest Team, the event we've all been waiting for, the Stone of Strength. And what a stone, 200 kilos, 440 pounds over a 4-foot platform, as many reps as possible as a team. What team's going to win? We'll soon see.
So Hafthor Bjornsson applying the resin to the palms and forearms to aid with the grip of this 200-kilogram stone. Eddie Hall, the younger member of this 2-man Saxons team, and he's delighted to be pairing up with the legendary Terry Hollins.
Competing alongside Terry Hollins is amazing. I can honestly say he was sort of a hero of mine growing up. When I was sort of 15, 16 years old, just getting into the gym scene, I was watching Terry Hollins on TV, you know, big 30-stone bloke pulling trucks and doing that with stones. And it's probably because of Terry why I got into strongman. So sort of 10 years later to be competing alongside him it's a bit of an honour, to be honest.
I think British strongman, like I said, is in a really good place with Ed. I mean, I think it's certainly nice to see a good young British guy coming through. And yeah, like I said, I genuinely hope he goes on and wins World's Strongest Man in the next couple of years. And I think he's got all the tools to do it. So it's nice to see that we're, you know, I'm sort of bowing out perhaps at some point soon with the future of the sport in this country in good hands.
So the penultimate pairings up in position, awaiting the starter's whistle in this Stones of Strength event for reps. 200 kilograms is what the stone weighs. The plinth is 4 feet high, and Hall and Hafthor Bjornsson have got off to a very strong start indeed. It's a tag team event, so the partner can come in at any time, and as he's been doing throughout the event so far, it is Hafthor Bjornsson who's taking on the lion's share of the workload for the Vikings team. He's just gone ahead with 3 repetitions. The Bravehearts have set the leading mark so far with 4, so already both the Vikings and the Saxons closing in on that mark. The Vikings have tied it now. Hafthor Bjornsson, his 6'9" frame, something of an advantage when it comes to getting the stone over the 4-foot barrier. Look at that, just thrusts it off his abdomen to complete repetition number 5, and that is the leading mark in the Stones of Strength for rep event to this point in the competition. 6 reps completed now, and all of them have been carried out by Hafthor Bjornsson. Meanwhile, Terry Hollins for the Saxons really struggling to get to grips with the stone. Eddie Hall checks back in after he took a breather. He's asking for some inspiration and encouragement from the crowd, but what a performance from Bjornsson. 7 reps for the Vikings, all 7 of them have been completed by Hafthor Bjornsson. Meanwhile, Terry Hollins continuing to have his struggles in getting to grips with this stone. Eddie Hall checks back in. Can he complete repetition number 5? Psychs himself up, gets it up onto his lap, and now a big thrust with the legs and glutes, quads and hamstrings to complete 5 reps. But Hafthor Bjornsson is producing a lion-hearted display for the Vikings. He's being matched in terms of tenacity and determination by Eddie Hall. 8 reps for the Vikings, 6 reps for the Saxons. Terrific performance by Hafthor Bjornsson and Eddie Hall in particular. They really picked up the slack for their respective teams. Terrific showing. The gauntlet has been well and truly laid down for the Barbarians in Yankees. So the Yankees, the event leaders after the opening 3 events in this year's team competition. Their opponents in this particular heat of the Stones of Strength for reps are the Barbarians. They're going very well indeed in 3rd. And it's Dave Ostland for the Yankees who is the first up to the mark as the whistle goes to get this 2-minute time limit underway. Dave Ostland, 6'7", Brian Shaw, 6'8". Meanwhile, on the other side of the podium, the 6'2" Irving Katona really struggling to get to grips with this 200-kilogram stone. The Yankees employing a tag after each completed repetition. You see that Graham Hicks had to step in to get the first rep completed for the Barbarians. Katona really struggling. No such problems for the Yankees as they are streaking ahead, switching after each completed rep. And meanwhile, it looks to be heavy going for Graham Hicks because Irving Katona has yet to contribute a completed rep for the Barbarians. 6 completed now for the Yankees. They have tied the score that is laid down by the Saxons. Meanwhile, Irving Katona, renowned for his grip strength, but he is really struggling to contribute to his team effort during this particular event. We're at the halfway stage of the 2-minute time limit. Graham Hicks stepping in again. He's only 5 feet 10 inches tall, and we talked about what an advantage height is in clearing the 4-foot plinth. And when you've got a team that's comprised of athletes who stand 6'8" and 6'7", as in the case of the Yankees, Brian Shaw and Dave Ostland, well, they are making light work of that 200-kilogram load, and they have gone into the lead. They know that they're the last pairing, so they have elected to stop at that point. Meanwhile, Irving Katona really struggling to get a repetition on the board for his team. The Yankees have shut it down. 9 repetitions enough. The crowd want to see more, but the Yankees know that it's a long day. He's thinking about it, but he's going to resist the encouragement and exhortations of the crowd. The Yankees have done enough to secure first place, another first place in this event number 4. There's the whistle to signal the end of the 2-minute time limit. 9 repetitions completed for the event favorites, and after 4 completed events, they come away with yet another first place finish. Well, here's confirmation of a really commanding performance by the Yankees in that 4th event. 9 repetitions, enough to give them the win, and they shut it down with plenty of time to spare. The Vikings with a brilliant display with 8 reps, all from Hafthor Bjornsson, while the Saxons finished in 3rd with 6 reps. So this is the impact it's had on the overall leaderboard. 4 events in the can, and the Yankees have won 3 of them. They're clear leaders at the halfway stage of the world's ultimate strongest team. Well, what a moment we have here at the Britannia Stadium. The crowd anticipating a world record attempt from Brian Shaw, who is just a linchpin of the tag team event, the Stones for Reps. He and his partner Dave Ostland producing a dominant display to take victory in that event. They're at the top of the leaderboard. And now he's taking that form and confidence, attempting to lift a 250-kilogram stone up onto a barrel that stands 4'6". It's on his lap at the moment. Now he's going to need a big thrust with the lower body, all of his strength, and he has done it. A new world record for Brian Shaw. The crowd in attendance here at the Britannia Stadium in absolute rapture. They've just seen something that has never been done before in the realm of strongman, and it is the former 2-time world's strongest man, Brian Shaw, who has just accomplished that magnificent feat of strength.
Yeah, lifting a stone that heavy is actually, there's a lot that goes into it. And this one, the diameter is a little bit bigger than what I've done before. I have a heavier stone than that at home, and the diameter is a little bit smaller, so it makes it just a touch easier out of the lap. So it's and this platform also, compared to what I've done, is it's you know, a little bit higher also. So you really have to get it going out of your lap. And you know, having this crowd here and all these people behind me, I mean, when I walked up there was no way that I was going to fail that. So you know, it helps to have their energy, and you know, it's been fun. I mean, it's fun. I love heavy stones. So to bring that out and set a new world record, it's amazing.
We're at the halfway stage of the world's ultimate strongest team, and it's the Yankees who have set the pace so far. They set a blistering mark in the super yoke. The Saxons bounced straight back to take victory in the Hercules car hold. But since that point, it has been all Yankees. They prevailed in the team log lift, pressing out more reps than any other team, and it was the same result in the stones of strength for reps. They got the victorious mark of 9 and then shut it down with plenty of time left to spare. Eddie Hall and the Saxons are the only team that can really catch them at this point. They are still very much in the mix. So the Bravehearts are the first team to be introduced to the crowd here at the Britannia Stadium. This dynamic event should really favour the athletic Luke Stoltman and Stephen Cherry. The Saxons will enjoy this event as well, no doubt. They went really well in the super yoke, and Hafthor Bjornsson was absolutely terrific in that super yoke event, which opened this 2014 World's Ultimate Strongest Team. But these were the winners of the super yoke event. The load here is lighter. It's 385 kilograms, but it's over the same 40-meter course. Now this is heat number 2 of 2. The Barbarians are the team who set the pace with a 39-second heat 1 winning performance. But over on the far side, the Yankees have made a blistering start. Stephen Cherry went very well for the Bravehearts on this near side as well. Now, who can overcome inertia first? It's Dave Ostlund, who has picked up the frame and is off and fairly motoring toward the finish line in the second heat of this Railway Farmers York. He's going to obliterate the time that has been set by the Barbarians. First place for the Yankees, second place for the Saxons, and look at the performance from Luke Stoltman to give the Bravehearts a third place finish in this particular heat. Bringing up the rear, but still in an impressive time, is Hafthor Bjornsson for the Vikings, but that was a really impressive second heat. And here's the evidence. The top 3 teams in the Railway Farmers Walk all coming from heat number 2, but there's no doubt about the victorious team. Once again, it is the Yankees. Another first place finish for the American tandem. The Saxons, though, remaining hot on their heels in second place in that particular event, just as they are overall. But there is clear daylight now between the Yankees and the rest of the field. With just 3 events left, the pre-event favourites are looking very strong indeed.
Event 6 of the World Ultimate Strongest Team, the deadlift. You're not a strong man unless you deadlift, but there's a difference with this one. Half a ton will kick the competition off. 2 men will lift the bar together into the lockdown position. It's a maximum lift. Who's going to be the strongest team? We'll soon see.
So we join the deadlift for maximum with 700 kilograms on the bar. The Celts are already out. 550 was their best lift. The Pirates are already out too. They succeeded with 600. Attempting to get 700 kilograms off the ground, and Simon Johnston, 3 times Wales' strongest man, and his teammate Mark Jeans have called it a day, so their best lift will remain 650. Now it's the Vikings attempting to lift the 700 kilogram load. They've been successful in all 4 of their attempts so far. This is looking pretty good, but no, they can't get it up to the lockout position. So what's the decision going to be? Hafthor Bjornsson and Ari Gunnarsson strapping up and going for it once more. They're allowed 2 attempts on each lift of the bar, but the second one, well, it was less impressive than the first. So now up to the plate are the Barbarians. Katona and Hicks with a really impressive lift. The first tandem to successfully complete the deadlift of 700 kilograms. What an impressive performance for 2 of the smaller athletes. So the Bravehearts, 5th beyond the halfway stage and really struggling to get it off the ground. Luke Stoltman can afford a wry smile, but they exit the competition. 650 remains their best lift. So the Saxons in position, hot on the heels of the Yankees, and there's a successful completion of the 700 kilogram load. Terrific performance, but look at the grimace on the face of Terry Hollands, the veteran strongman. Let's hope he's not done himself an injury in completing that impressive deadlift. Here are the event leaders, Brian Shaw, Dave Osland, and they too get it way up off the ground. These two towering strongmen, 6'8" Brian Shaw, 6'7". Dave Osland, it's a long way for them to pull it to get to that lockout position, but they did it successfully. So here are the Barbarians attempting 750 kilograms. They were really impressive at 700. They appear to have lots left in the tank, but that 50 kilogram addition proving to be a load too many for the Barbarians to successfully complete. But what a marker they laid down, being the first team to complete 700 kilograms. Well, the Yankees are attempting this. They've got 700 successfully in the bag, but really 750 barely moved an inch. But another hugely impressive, victorious display, and it's generously applauded by the crowd in attendance here at the Britannia Stadium. Well, here's the result of the deadlift for maximum. Another first place finish for the Yankees. This time it's a three-way tie at the top of the table between the Yankees, the Saxons and the Barbarians. And when those points are taken into account on the overall leaderboard, well, the Yankees continuing to confirm and consolidate their position at the top. They're looking like a team with no weaknesses. There are 2 events to go and the Yankees are in clear first place.
Event 7, the tug of war. This is our wrestling test of the competition. A real ultimate test, a real old test of strength. Teams will get locked in on the rope, pulling against each other with all their might. Who's going to win this one? We'll soon see.
So the first semi-final in this tug of war competition pits the event leaders, the Yankees, against the Barbarians. And this is an event really you have to think that it's going to favor in this particular heat the Yankees, as Jeff Capes, former 2-time winner of the World's Strongest Man, instructs the athletes to take the strain. And the tug of war competition is underway, and it is all Yankees at the moment, hauling back the much smaller athletes who comprise the Barbarians team. And they were at a disadvantage from the start because the sheer bulk combined with the power of the Yankees made it look easy. So the second semi-final in this tug of war competition sees the Vikings, anchored by the mighty Hafthor Bjornsson, taking on the Saxons. See Terry Hollands getting strapped up for that anchorman role. Jeff Capes giving the athletes the instructions to take the strain. The heels being dug into the turf here at the Britannia Stadium, and now the battle is underway. Terry Hollands and Eddie Hall getting the traction. The Vikings struggling to do so, and they are being hauled backwards mercilessly by the Saxons. And look at the celebrations from Ed Hall in acknowledgement of that semi-final victory. A very comfortable one indeed, and what a matchup we have in the final now. Football boots being worn by Terry Hollands, rock solid in the anchorman role, getting lots of traction and taking the time to have fun with the crowd. So the third, fourth playoff in this tug-of-war event is between the Barbarians and the Vikings. And again, the Barbarians among the smaller teams in the world's ultimate strongest team. Irving Katona just 6'2" and 155 kilograms. Graham Hicks 5'10" and 128 kilos. They're taking the strain, and look at the traction and momentum being gained by the Vikings. Hafthor Bjornsson tumbling to the turf as he hauled his team to victory to secure third place in the tug-of-war competition. The Barbarians simply overwhelmed by the combined bulk and mass of the Vikings tandem. But nice to see smiles all around. The Vikings finish in third place. Well, what a reception to greet both of these teams ahead of the final of the tug-of-war competition. They're the top 2 teams on the leaderboard as the Yankees prepare to take on the Saxons. Jeff Capes getting the athletes to take the strain. And it's a brilliant, aggressive start from the Saxons. The Yankees are fighting to hold on, but they've been outmuscled and overwhelmed by the Saxons. The Union Jack flying in celebration here at the Britannia Stadium. The crowd in absolute rapture, and Eddie Hall with a smile on his face, letting the Yankees know what he thinks of their efforts. It's a first place finish for the Saxons, and they close the gap ever so slightly on the Yankees at the top of the leaderboard. Well, it was a brilliant display in the tug-of-war final by the Saxons. They started hard, they started aggressively, they got low, dug in, and fairly hauled the Yankees over the halfway line to secure victory for themselves. Exuberant celebrations from the Saxons, and Hall in particular, and just look at that for a gesture.
Is there any kind of strategy, or is it just literally pull the tires again? It looks like there's some technique to it, right?
For sure. I think just before the event, just before Jeff says go, we're sort of feeding them the rope a bit, putting them off, so they sort of relax, and then when Jeff says go, we bam, and just sort of took it away from them. It was really easy. It was no effort for us, really.
Now, before you kicked off, I saw you sledging a little bit and doing that to them, which, I mean, if you were doing a solo event, you wouldn't probably do that, would you?
No, for sure. If it was a solo event, that'd be pretty obnoxious and sort of big-headed. But it's a team event. We're here for a laugh. It's not all about who is sort of going to smash whoever up here. It's just we're having a good time.
So the Saxons, with that brilliant display in the tug-of-war, secure their second outright victory of the day. The Yankees have finished no worse than second in any event, though, and that is why they have a clear lead at the top of the leaderboard going into the final event. This is how they stand. Only the Saxons can catch the Yankees with one event to go, and the Saxons would need to finish 6 places above the Yankees if they were to overhaul them and take first place. Well, it has been a brilliant day of competition so far here at the world's ultimate strongest team. The Yankees were dominant once more in the Railway Farmers Walk, and then the deadlift saw a new team atop the leaderboard as the Barbarians got themselves a share of the lead, only to be matched by the Saxons and a Herculean effort from Ed Hall and Terry Hollins, which was matched again by the event leaders, the Yankees. A 3-way tie at the top of the leaderboard at the end of the deadlift for maximum. And then in the tug-of-war, well, it was the Saxons, inspired by the fantastic crowd in attendance here at the Britannia Stadium, who hauled the Yankees over the line to secure a victory. That's why they're still in contention with one event to go in the world's ultimate strongest team.
The final event of the world ultimate strongest team, the Power Stairs. 5 massive blocks must be carried up 5 steps. 200 kilos, 225, 250, 275 and 300 kilos. Only 2 men on the planet have lifted this last block to the top. Is there going to be somebody else? We'll soon see.
So we join this final event in the 3rd heat. The Vikings preparing to take on the Barbarians. It is the Bravehearts who have set the pace, taking the 3rd implement, the 250 kilogram load, up onto the 4th step. And it's a quick start that is being made by both of these teams, employing the bunny hop technique as they take the first stone, 200 kilograms in mass, up to the top of the 4th step. Back down more quickly is Ari Gunnarsson for the Vikings. Remember, this is a tag team event, but it is a legitimate tag that has to be made. They would have to run all the way back down the steps, tag their partner, and then get back into position to haul up the 2nd stone. Ari Gunnarsson putting in a solid performance for the Vikings so far, and just look at how much it's taken out of Katona from the Barbarians. Hathor Bjornsson steps into the mix and pushes that weight into position. They're now onto the 3rd weight, 250 kilograms, and if they can get this up to the top, they will take the outright lead, and that is what Bjornsson has done right there. So Bjornsson and the Vikings move on to the block weighing 275 kilograms. Katona has just put block number 3 into position, but Bjornsson is making terrific progress. Now, is that 4th block into the position for the satisfaction of the judges? Graham Hicks has come into the fray for the Barbarians, but he's struggling to get his weight up onto the 1st step. And it's another supreme effort from Hafthor Bjornsson. Something of a star in the strongman world, sprinting across to make the tag. Ari Gunnarsson will try and haul up this final stone. 20 seconds to go. Can't get it anywhere, so again, back to you. Meanwhile, Irvin Katona for the Barbarians really struggling to get to grips with block number 4, 275 kilograms. But it's another supreme effort from Hafthor Bjornsson. He has been the absolute linchpin of the Vikings team, and just as the whistle sounds, he has got the final block of 300 kilograms up onto step number 4. And there's Big Z, Zydrunas Savickas, the reigning world's strongest man from Lithuania. He's called time on Hafthor Bjornsson and the Vikings, but that's a terrific showing from there. So the final heat of the final event sees the top 2 teams from the leaderboard going head-to-head in this power stairs event. The Yankees know what they have to do, and so do the Saxons. If the Saxons want to take top spot, they have to finish 6 clear places above the Yankees, and really, in reality, that means that the Yankees would have to have an absolutely calamitous event, which is highly unlikely given the way that Brian Shaw has just made short work of that first 200 kilogram block. So both teams electing to tag after each completing the opening block of 200 kilos. Terry Holland getting to grips with a weight of 225 kilograms, but Dave Ostland has given the Yankees a clear lead now up onto the top step with the 225 kilogram load. Terry Holland has just completed that task now. So Brian Shaw bunny hopping his way up the steps with 250 kilograms. Terry Holland's also getting to grips with 250, but he's down at the bottom of the pyramid, and he's going for another tag to bring Ed Hall back into the fray. So the Yankees now, well, they are well on their way to securing top spot and the world's ultimate strongest team championship. It's another dominant display. They haven't finished lower than second in any event to this point, and with plenty of time left on the clock, they could well complete the task of getting all 5 stones up onto the top step. It's Brian Shaw with a little more than 30 seconds to go, who's doing very well indeed with a load of 300 kilos. It's a far slower pace being set by the Saxons. Brian Shaw tagging Ostland for the final time. Now there's around 15 seconds left. Can they get 300 kilograms up onto the top step? Terry Holland's being encouraged to get the load of 250 up into position. They've done so, but wasn't it hard work? Meanwhile, we're approaching the 2-minute limit now, and Ostland has done it. The Yankees have got all 5 blocks into position to secure themselves yet another victory, and they've taken the title in dominant fashion.
Guys, you've just become the world's ultimate strongest team. How does it feel?
Oh, pretty good, man. It was a long day, 8 events, and fortunately things went our way. Had a very strong partner, which helps, so very happy.
Does an award like this mean a lot to you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I definitely come to every contest to win, and that was the goal coming in to win, and it's great to have Dave and I have known each other for a number of years, and it's been really fun to compete alongside him today, and rely on him. And team contests are fun, because everything's not on my shoulders, and we get to work together and strategize a little bit, so it's pretty cool.
The Yankees understandably delighted with their performance in the world's ultimate strongest team event. That final event, just another demonstration of their dominance. The only team to complete all 5 blocks in the Power Stairs event, and that was yet another victory for Shaw and Ostland. 1 shared win in the deadlift, 5 outright victories, and that's why there's clear daylight between the Yankees and everybody else.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear for our world's strongest team competitors.
So the podium finishers taking a well-deserved round of applause from the crowd in attendance here at the Britannia Stadium. They've enjoyed it. We hope you have too. Join us next time.